The story opens with Delilah, a female CIA agent using the codename Banshee, discussing with her female boss the misdeeds of her father, Jeremy, and his friend Caleb during a mission. They are accused of divulging a crucial American secret to the Russians. The CIA brings in Anthony Greene, a tough ex-Special Forces operative, to eliminate them. In the ensuing confrontation, Jeremy is fatally shot by Greene, while Caleb escapes, leaving his whereabouts unknown, and the CIA continues the search for him. Delilah's boss, aware that Jeremy is her father, suspects Delilah of being a traitor like him. However, Delilah disagrees, leading her to quit the CIA in order to uncover the truth about her father's actions. Fast forward 5 years, Delilah, now working as a professional assassin, teams up with Kronos, a tech expert, for her missions. They form a formidable duo, with Delilah excelling at evading guards and reaching her targets. During a mission, Delilah is astonished to discover that her target has been captured by Greene and his group. In an unexpected turn of events, Greene proposes a deal. He will release her target if she captures Caleb. The reward for this task is set at $1 million, the same amount she was supposed to receive for her initial mission. However, Delilah cannot agree with Greene's proposition because Caleb is one of her closest friends. In response, Greene shifts his focus to Delilah, but she fortunately manages to escape after confronting some of Greene's henchmen. Kronos comes to her aid, providing information on the enemy's whereabouts and guiding her on how to evade them. Meanwhile, Greene, realizing that Delilah has escaped, instructs his men to identify the person assisting her behind the scenes. While driving home, Delilah reflects on the fond memories she shared with her father and Caleb in the past. Fueled by the need for Caleb's assistance in dealing with Greene, who has been pursuing her for 5 years, Delilah decides to actively search for him. During that period, Delilah reached out to Kronos to help locate Caleb. It didn't take long for Kronos to pinpoint Caleb's residence in a secluded town and uncover that Jeremy's friend was now employed at a bar. In Delilah's recollections, Caleb was the one who imparted numerous skills to her, shaping her into a proficient assassin. When she encountered Caleb at the bar where he worked, she informed him that Greene was still pursuing him. Delilah proposed they join forces to confront Greene, who posed a threat to both of them. Following their discussion, Caleb extended an invitation for Delilah to his home, where he lived with his daughter Haley, having lost his wife a few years earlier. Upon Delilah's arrival at Caleb's house, Haley displayed reluctance to welcome a stranger and even brandished a gun at Delilah. Caleb had to intervene to pacify his daughter before welcoming Delilah into their home. Meanwhile, Kronos found himself engrossed in an online poker game when he received an unexpected surprise. Greene and his gang suddenly appeared, pressuring Kronos to assist them in capturing Delilah and Caleb. They went so far as to threaten harm if Kronos refused. Feeling cornered, Kronos reluctantly agreed to aid Greene. Back at Caleb's house during dinner, Haley remained suspicious of Delilah. Caleb had invited Delilah over to ensure she wouldn't cause trouble. During the meal, Haley bombarded Delilah with questions, annoying Caleb to the point where he eventually sent her to her room. Despite Haley's upset demeanor, she eventually left Caleb and Delilah alone. Delilah, seizing the opportunity, questioned Caleb about her father's death at the hands of Greene. Caleb appeared hesitant to share the story and suggested that Delilah approach Greene directly for answers. Unsatisfied with this response, Delilah became more determined to confront Greene and unveil the truth about her father's death, which appeared shrouded in secrecy by the CIA. Regrettably, Caleb declined to aid Delilah against Greene, citing concerns for Haley's safety. Instead, he handed over files related to the incident that led to Jeremy's death, reminding Delilah of the mission he and her father had undertaken for the CIA. In the past, Caleb and Jeremy unexpectedly crossed paths with a wealthy woman who, fearing a dangerous MIF group, sought their protection. Initially hesitant, Caleb eventually agreed to help when he realized the grave threat posed by the Mafia and the woman's possession of crucial secret information. His commitment was aimed at safeguarding sensitive data from falling into criminal hands. Fast forward to the present as morning approached, Delilah remained engrossed in studying the files provided by Caleb. Pondering the mysterious absence of her father's body, which had yet to be discovered, she began to entertain the notion that her father might still be alive, evading capture by Greene. When Caleb caught wind of Delilah's suspicions, he asserted that Jeremy was indeed deceased, but declined to divulge the specifics of his demise. Instead, he suggested that Delilah direct her inquiries to Greene for more information. During their conversation, Haley made a sudden appearance, prompting Caleb to swiftly depart for work. Concerned about the potential threat posed by Greene and his associates, Caleb left his daughter in the care of Delilah. His apprehensions were justified, as Greene and his gang were indeed en route to Caleb's residence, having successfully tracked down Delilah with the assistance of Kronos. While Caleb was at work, Delilah resumed reviewing mission files that outlined the plans she and Jeremy had devised in the past. Collaborating to safeguard a wealthy woman, their objective had been to ensure her eventual handover to the CIA for enhanced protection. Despite her focus on the mission files, Delilah remained persistent in her quest for answers regarding Jeremy's death in the present. Growing a bit fatigued, she took a break and perused some previously unseen family photos belonging to Caleb. As she immersed herself in the pictures, Haley approached Delilah, still harboring suspicions about Delilah's presence in their home. In response, Delilah attempted to reassure Caleb's daughter, explaining that her intentions toward Caleb and Haley were entirely benign. Meanwhile, in the bar where Caleb was employed, he observed 3 suspicious individuals. Recognizing one of them as a member of Greene's group, Caleb promptly contacted Delilah, urging her to exercise caution as they were under surveillance. He informed her of the potential threat, indicating that the group might be heading towards their residence. After concluding his conversation with Delilah, Caleb secured the bar's door and confronted the trio of dubious patrons. Simultaneously, back at home, Delilah had just finished her phone call with Caleb when she noticed an armed group approaching Caleb's house. In response, Delilah instructed Haley to hide in a room, opting to confront the approaching group and delay them until Caleb's return. At that moment, Caleb was occupied dealing with Greene's associates at the bar. While attempting to prevent Greene's men from entering the house, Delilah found herself outnumbered and unable to immobilize all of them. When 2 of Greene's men eventually found where Haley was hiding, they were going to hurt her, but Caleb came just in time to save her. He unfortunately suffered a bullet wound to the chest and had to give up his life. On the flip side, following Delilah's successful defeat of the remaining members of Greene's group, she encountered a grieving Haley who was deeply saddened by her father's condition. Delilah shared in the sorrow, particularly because Caleb had been not just a friend, but also a mentor who had imparted numerous skills to help her become a skilled assassin. In his final moments, Caleb entrusted Haley to Delilah, urging her to take care of and train his daughter to defend herself against potential threats, recognizing that Haley had become a target for Greene. In the aftermath of Caleb's passing in the backyard, Delilah recounted the entire story of his life. Caleb, a former CIA member, had been betrayed by the organization, compelling him to seek refuge in a remote and isolated location, far away from others. As recounted by Delilah, she, Caleb, and Jeremy faced accusations of betraying the CIA. Allegedly, they had provided nuclear code data to Russia through a wealthy woman they were assigned to protect. To eliminate the perceived threat posed by Caleb and Jeremy, the CIA hired assassins led by Greene. The agency's motive was to safeguard vital data and remove Caleb, who held significant knowledge of classified CIA secrets. This move aimed to prevent Caleb from becoming a potential threat by disclosing sensitive information to external parties. During this critical period, Delilah found herself targeted by Greene and his men, expressing concerns about lacking adequate resources and proper weapons to counter her adversaries. In response, Haley invited Delilah to Caleb's secret room, which housed an array of weapons that could aid them in their struggle against Greene's forces. Armed with a substantial arsenal, Delilah gained newfound hope in confronting Greene's pursuit. On another occasion, as Delilah and Haley engaged in conversation, they were abruptly startled by the unexpected arrival of Greene and his group. In response, Delilah and Haley swiftly devised their strategy, while Greene's men employed a drone equipped with special thermal technology to assess the number of people inside the house. Upon receiving a report indicating only one person inside, assumed to be Delilah, Greene exited the car, holding Kronos hostage. Regrettably, Greene deemed Kronos expendable and proceeded to eliminate him. Within the confines of the house, Delilah, armed and prepared, contemplated the option of shooting Greene to thwart his advance. However, she hesitated, burdened by the knowledge that she alone held the truth about her father's demise 5 years prior. Outside, Greene, biding his time, instructed his men to infiltrate the house and ambush Delilah, intending to monitor the situation from the safety of his car. Events took an unforeseen turn when Delilah, defying expectations, launched a preemptive attack as Greene's men attempted to breach Caleb's house, resulting in a fierce shootout. Simultaneously, Haley joined the fray, skillfully eliminating several of Greene's men from an elevated position upstairs. Despite her lack of combat experience, Haley remained resolute in her determination to defend her home and block any intruders attempting to breach its defenses. Through a strong display of teamwork between Delilah and Haley, they successfully overcame all of Greene's men. In the car, Greene was taken aback upon learning that Delilah and Haley had thwarted his team. In response, he directed his less experienced female subordinates to enter the house and attempt to ambush the duo. Despite their reluctance, these subordinates followed their boss's orders. As the confrontation unfolded, Haley faced off against Greene's subordinates upstairs, while Delilah found herself in a challenging struggle against Greene himself. Although Haley's determination led to the defeat of Greene's men, Delilah continued to grapple with the formidable Greene. In a critical moment where Delilah was at risk of being fatally harmed by Greene, Haley intervened and shot Greene, putting an end to the threat. Ultimately, Delilah and Haley, visibly relieved, successfully vanquished Greene and his team, who had relentlessly pursued them. It was then revealed that Haley harbored a determination for revenge against the CIA for her father's death. She asked Delilah to become her mentor, aspiring to follow in her footsteps as an assassin. The film concludes, leaving the audience with the moral lesson that family dinners, though potentially perilous, can also serve as an unexpected setting for discussing CIA conspiracy theories and recruiting the next member for an assassin mission.